I still remember the exact moment. My mother looked me in the eyes and said the words that shattered my entire world. "My daughter is dead to me." Her voice was cold, flat, like she was reading from a script she had rehearsed in her head for years. I stood there in the living room of the only home I had ever known, my hands trembling, holding the engagement ring my fiancé had just given me the night before. The man I loved more than anything. The man she refused to accept. My name is Sophia. For 24 years, I was the perfect daughter. Top of my class, obedient, respectful, the girl who never talked back. My parents built their entire reputation around being the ideal conservative family in our tight-knit community. And then I fell in love with Jamal. He was everything I didn't know I needed. Kind, ambitious, gentle in a way that made my heart feel safe. We met in university during a group project. At first, I tried to fight it. I knew what my family would say, but love doesn't ask for permission. It simply arrives and changes everything. We dated in secret for 2 years. Stolen moments in coffee shops on the other side of town, late-night phone calls where he made me laugh until my stomach hurt. When he finally proposed, I felt like the luckiest woman alive, until I told my mother. The dinner that night started normally. Mom had made her famous biryani. Dad was reading the newspaper. I took a deep breath and said the words I had practiced 100 times. "I'm getting married. His name is Jamal." The silence that followed was heavier than any scream. My mother's fork froze halfway to her mouth. Then came the questions, the accusations, the tears. "You can't be serious, Sophia. He's not one of us." I tried to explain. I told them about his character, his dreams, how he treated me like I was precious. But they didn't hear any of it. All they saw was the color of his skin. That night, my mother gave me an ultimatum. Choose him, and you choose to walk out of this family forever. I chose love. The next morning, I packed 2 suitcases while my mother watched from the doorway, arms crossed, tears streaming down her face but no softness in her eyes. My father didn't even come out of his room. As I walked out the front door, she said it again. "You are dead to us." I thought that was the worst pain I would ever feel. But what I didn't know that day was that the real heartbreak was still years away. Jamal and I got married in a small ceremony with his family and our close friends. It was beautiful, even if my heart ached for the empty seats where my parents should have been. We started our life together in a tiny 1-bedroom apartment. Money was tight. I worked as a teacher. He worked construction during the day and studied for his engineering license at night. There were moments I cried myself to sleep, wondering if I had made a terrible mistake by choosing love over family. But every morning, Jamal would hold me and whisper, "We're building something real, Sophia, something no one can take away." For 9 years, we built that life. We had 2 beautiful children, Aisha and little Noah. We moved into a modest but warm home. Jamal got his engineering job and I became head of department at my school. We weren't rich, but we were happy. Deeply, quietly happy. Until one rainy Tuesday evening, the doorbell rang. I opened the door holding a dish towel, my hair messy from cooking, and there she stood. My mother. 9 years older, thinner, eyes filled with something I couldn't quite read, regret, desperation. "Sophia," her voice cracked. "My daughter, I need your help." My heart stopped. I stood frozen in the doorway, the warm light from inside spilling onto her rain-soaked coat. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The sound of my children laughing in the background felt almost wrong, like this moment was too sacred, too painful to mix with everyday joy. "Come inside," I finally whispered, my voice barely holding together. She stepped in hesitantly, looking around our home like she was seeing a different universe. Her eyes lingered on the family photos, me and Jamal on our wedding day, the kids' school pictures, our little life that had grown without her. We sat at the kitchen table. I made her tea the same way she taught me when I was a little girl. She kept staring at her hands. "I'm sick, Sophia," she said quietly. "The doctors say I need surgery. Expensive surgery. Your father, he left me 2 years ago. I have nothing left." My chest tightened. Part of me wanted to reach across the table and hold her. The other part remembered every lonely holiday, every time my daughter asked why Grandma never visited, every tear I had cried in the early years of my marriage. "Where is Dad?" I asked. She looked away. "He said I was the one who pushed you away. He blamed me." I didn't know what to feel. Anger, pity, a strange, hollow sadness. Jamal came home while we were talking. When he saw her, he stopped in the hallway. His face stayed calm, but I saw the protective flicker in his eyes. He had held me through so many nights of grief because of this woman. "Mrs. Ahmed," he said politely, "you're welcome in our home." My mother looked at him, really looked at him, for the first time in 9 years. Something shifted in her expression. Not warmth exactly, but calculation. Over the next few days, she stayed with us. I told myself it was the right thing. She was my mother. Family is family. But slowly, the mask began to slip. She started making little comments. "Aisha has such nice hair, but it would look better if she didn't have that mix. Noah is a handsome boy, but he doesn't really look like you, Sophia. He looks like them." I brushed it off at first. She was sick. She was desperate. But then she began pushing harder. One evening, after Jamal had gone to bed, she sat me down. "I've been thinking," she said softly. "Maybe this marriage was a mistake. You were so young. If you left him now, I could help you rebuild. My friends would accept you back. You could find a proper husband, someone from our community. The children could stay with me while you get back on your feet." I felt like the floor had disappeared beneath me. She wasn't here because she was sorry. She wasn't here because she missed me. She was here to finish what she started 9 years ago, to destroy my marriage and take my children. The betrayal cut deeper than the original disownment. This time, I wasn't a naive 24-year-old girl. I was a mother, a wife, a woman who had fought for her happiness. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay beside Jamal, listening to his steady breathing, tears silently running down my face. I thought about all the years I had spent wondering if I was enough, if my love was enough. And here was the woman who was supposed to protect me, trying to tear my world apart again. The pain was overwhelming, but something else was rising underneath it. Strength. Cold, clear, unbreakable strength. I didn't scream. I didn't cry in front of her. Instead, I started planning. Quietly, carefully. The next morning, I told my mother I would help with her medical bills. She smiled like she had won, but I had conditions. First, she had to sign a legal agreement that I had drawn up with a lawyer friend, full repayment of all medical costs once she recovered, plus a clause that she would never speak against my marriage or try to influence my children again. She hesitated, but signed. She needed the money too badly. But that was only the beginning. I recorded every conversation after that, every poisonous comment about my husband, every attempt to turn my children against their father. I saved the messages where she told her old friends that she was saving me from my mistake. 2 weeks later, when her surgery was scheduled, I drove her to the hospital. She looked relieved, almost triumphant. As the nurses prepared her, she reached for my hand. "I always knew you'd come back to your senses, Sophia." I looked at her, really looked at her, and felt nothing but pity. After the surgery, while she was still recovering, I did what I had to do. I sent the recordings and the signed agreement to every single person in her social circle, the aunties, the uncles, the community leaders who had once praised her for standing by her principles when she disowned me. I also sent them to my father. The truth spread like wildfire. Within days, her phone started ringing. People who had supported her for years now questioned how she could try to destroy her own daughter's family while begging for money. Her reputation, the one thing she had always cared about more than me, crumbled. She called me from the hospital, voice shaking with rage and humiliation. "How could you do this to me?" I answered calmly, "The same way you did it to me, Mother. Only I didn't throw you away. I simply showed everyone who you really are." She was discharged a few days later. No one from her old circle offered to take her in. My father sent her a message saying he wanted nothing more to do with her games. The last time I saw her, she came to our door one final time. She looked small, broken. I just want to see my grandchildren, she whispered. I stood tall, Jamal's hand on my shoulder. You can see them when you learn to love them as they are, with their father in their lives. Until then, you are not welcome here. She left without another word. It wasn't revenge that tasted sweet. It was justice. The kind that comes when you finally choose yourself and your family after years of carrying someone else's cruelty. Today, my children ask about their grandmother sometimes. I tell them the truth, age-appropriate, gentle, but honest. I tell them that love is not something you earn by being perfect. Love is what we built together in this house. Jamal and I are stronger than ever. Our home is filled with laughter, and I've found peace in knowing I broke the cycle. I refuse to let pain turn me into the same kind of person who once hurt me. If you're watching this and you've been disowned, betrayed by family, or torn between love and loyalty, please hear me. Your happiness is not a betrayal of them. Choosing yourself is not selfish. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is build a new table when the old one refuses to make space for you. And if one day they come back begging, remember, you owe them nothing, but you owe your own heart everything. Thank you for listening to my story. If it touched you, please share it. Someone out there needs to know they're not alone. Until next time, protect your peace.